talking about those high-tech jobs, we can manufacture the parts. We can manufacture all the machines that takes for those high-tech things to be made for our high-tech world. For the Star Tech company, that's a phone service group, but I would tell you that, that's a good company for our kids, because what they do is they service the telephone industry, and you take any kid today, even my grandkids, they can tell you everything on that phone and how it works. So when you hear these names, don't be afraid of the names. The names don't mean anything except for it's a large name, but the work is actually something that we can do. It's something that, especially our kids, they're used to computers, they're used to phones, they are used to games. So if you can play a game, you can do that job, because you can explain to somebody why they can't use their phone. And usually that's some usually elderly like us. But I don't think I know is how to use the green button and the red button. And that's the only thing I want to use on my phone. So when it comes to those younger ones, they can use everything on there. And the reason I'm telling you this, not only they shouldn't be scared of the jobs, that just lets you know when people say that our kids can't learn, they already know. They just have to be guided in the direction to make sure that they know that, hey, this is really the job of the future. This is what they're saying. They might use another term for it, but computer ages, they grow up with that. Even with cable TV, I mean, if they can take that cable box, do all the recordings, and record multiple things. When we first got our VCR, we did with the Lincoln Lights. The kids can do all that. In today's term, they would call them a programmer. So we just have to lead our kids in the right direction and encourage them, let them know that they're just as smart as anybody else. And I was in the technical field. My job, I worked for PBG for 37 years as a multi-craft journeyman. And the guys would come in, the high-tech guys, and you sit there and you watch them and you figure out what they did. Most of the time now, it's not like when we first started with the hardware. You go and you plug the computer to the fixture, and basically a computer to a computer. Then the computer tell you what's wrong. You go and you take two. So then that's when my job came in. He'll say card number 36 is bad. They paid me good money to take a screwdriver and take two bolts and take a turn, pull that card and put that card back in. And I go sit down somewhere and they say we were late. Well, that's the nature of the business. And the more higher education you get, basically, the more money you get and the less work that you do. So we got to have our kids to understand that that's what happened in the educational world. So as times change, we have to change with the times to make sure that when we bring in these jobs, we're not bringing these jobs in for other folk. You guys are the ones who elected me in the office, and Mansfielders should have jobs that Mansfielders deserve. I can go on and on, but at this time I'll stop and ask if anybody have any questions. I'll answer any question on any topic. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Culliver, when these new jobs are coming to Mansfield, under your administration, are you going to be looking at these companies to assure Mansfielders get these jobs? And that everybody get a good paying job, don't live in Ontario and wherever? That there's a percentage of the jobs that have to remain in Mansfield?
Okay, that's really about a threefold question. First of all, whenever we're controlling a job, for instance, if we have block grant money that says that these jobs go to low and moderate income, okay, we have a system that we have to track that. First of all, second of all, if it's Mansfield's block grant money, Mansfielders should have those jobs. That's been the rule forever, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, it didn't happen. It's my job to make sure that those rules are being abided by. Anytime we have jobs that is mandated by the state and they have a a certain percentage that has to be there, or our rules state that there's certain percentages, we'll make sure that those percentages are there. Now, with the city's standpoint, basically, and because what's happening on this deal, you cannot legislate people's hearts. So therefore, you have to show leadership and show people how things should be done and hope that they will grasp that vision that you have. Okay, now, with that said, from the city standpoint, when we have jobs that are opening, that are opening with the city, we tell our directors that you hire from within the city unless that person is in and shows above the applicants that you have from the city. And then they have to prove that. We don't take their word for it. Don't take their word for it. Because many times when you see people, when you talk about qualifications only in the eyes of the beholder. Then when you see everybody who's qualified over here, then that's why you go through the process of interviewing, because you might have somebody that's real intelligent and get a high score, but they don't have any common sense on things, so that kind of kicks it out and you have more problems. So it's more than just, what needs to be out. So we're trying to create an attitude. Then another thing, I was at the First Alliance Church here last year, and I was telling them about how we are creating, a class of criminals. And the reason we're doing that is you take the guys who are felons, don't nobody want to hire them. So how do they live if we don't hire them? Either we're going to pay for it or they're going to go do something illegal because they're going to survive. And then the way that I'm trying to do that is trying to get the Christian community. So how we always tell everybody we need to forgive, we need to pray for our enemies, whole 9 yards. But when it comes to them, many of us Christian folk, we don't want to give them a second chance. Now, you might have failed 10, 20 years ago, but they still use the same rhetoric not to give you a job. And that also goes back to allowing everybody to have a chance to have a job, and not just using that so your friends or my friends or everybody have a chance, equal chance to get a job. So that goes back to the leadership again, and many times, you may not legally can stop things, but you can set the bar. And see, somebody will catch your vision. You don't know who that is, but somebody will catch your vision. And then that kind of feeds, keep on. So now you got one coming, now you got two. So it has to start somewhere. And these things aren't easy because they've been inbred in many folk and different ideologies and how systems should run. And we're just here to try and, I ran on trying to change the system. And you can't have people change overnight, but you can work on it as much as you can and hope that somebody gets your vision and say, hey, I think Mansfield would be a better place if we enact these type of changes. And then that's why I go to groups like you and go to their church groups, because they might not listen to me. See, all of us are being influenced by somebody. So if I could get somebody, like I said, I like to send out my soldiers and got them to do the work, because whoever influences you, I hope they talk to that person, and even though, they might not listen to Culliver, but you would listen to somebody else. So whoever you being influenced by, we hope those folks catches that and pushes those ideas across. Yes, ma'am.
I'm on the board of the area agency for the agency of 9 counties. In Morrow County, Ashland County, all of them have a senior place. And I think the North End needs a building for the seniors where they can go when they want to,